Hey, Stoic warriors, let me ask you something. How many times have you tried to sleep, but your mind refused to be quiet? How many times have you replayed the same situation over and over again, thinking with many what-ifs, and yet no solution? You see, the real problem is not the world around you, it's the noise within you. Overthinking slowly steals your peace. Worry quietly drains your strength, and before you realize it, your mind becomes a battlefield instead of a place of clarity. But what if I told you, you don't have to live like this? What if you could train your mind to become calm, focused, and unshakable, no matter what life throws at you? In today's video, you're going to discover powerful Stoic principles that have helped some of the greatest minds in history master their thoughts, silence unnecessary worries, and develop a deep, unbreakable inner peace. Please stay with me, because this might be the message your mind has been waiting for. The first step to eliminating worry and overthinking is to stop giving meaning to every thought. One of the greatest illusions in life is believing that every thought deserves attention, but it does not. You see, your mind produces thousands of thoughts daily, many of them random, repetitive, and irrational. Overthinkers make the mistake of engaging with all of them. But here's the truth. Thoughts are not facts. They are just mental events. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that the mind can distort reality. He trained himself not to obey every thought, but to question it. Worry and overthinking begins the moment you engage with a thought. Instead of letting it pass, you analyze it, expand it, create scenarios, attach emotion to it. Now one thought becomes 10. 10 thoughts become anxiety. Epictetus taught that we are disturbed not by things, but by our judgments about them. So instead of reacting to every thought, learn to observe without attachment, and your mind will no longer be a battlefield, but a place of peace. 2. Accept uncertainty as part of life. This is where many people struggle, because the human mind craves certainty. It wants guarantees. It wants to know exactly how things will turn out before taking action, and when it doesn't get that, it begins to worry, overthink, and imagine endless negative possibilities. But here is the hard truth the Stoics embraced. Certainty is an illusion. When you overthink, what are you really doing? You are trying to predict what people will think about you, whether things will go wrong, if your decisions will fail, what the future holds. And because the future is unknown, your mind fills in the gaps with fear. That is how worry is born. Remember, uncertainty is not your enemy. It is the space where growth, courage, and transformation happen. The more you try to eliminate it, the more anxious you become. The more you accept it, the more powerful you become. As Marcus Aurelius would remind us, you don't control what happens, but you always control who you become through it. So stop waiting for certainty. Train yourself to stand strong without it. That's the Stoic way. Step 3. Replace overthinking with action. Overthinking feels productive, but it is often a disguised form of avoidance. You sit with a decision, turning it over and over in your mind, analyzing every possible outcome. You tell yourself you are being careful, thoughtful, strategic. But in truth, what you are often doing is delaying discomfort. Epictetus taught that once you have used reason to evaluate a situation, the next step is simple. Act. Not because you are 100% sure, but because you are willing to face whatever follows. Hesitation in many situations is more dangerous than imperfection. You don't need to solve everything at once. You only need to take the first step. If you're overwhelmed by a project, start with one small task. If you're anxious about a conversation, say the first honest sentence. Waiting for perfect clarity before acting is like waiting for the ocean to be still before you learn to swim. Before any plan, ask yourself, is this good enough to move forward? If yes, move. Progress is built on imperfect steps, not flawless plans. 4. Limit mental clutter from external noise. In the Stoic view, your mind is not just a place where thoughts happen, it is a sacred space that must be protected. Most people struggle with overthinking not because their minds are weak, but because their minds are overloaded. Today, you are exposed to more information in a single day than Seneca encountered in months. News, social media, comparisons, expectations, all competing for your attention. And your mind, trying to process everything, becomes restless, scattered, and overwhelmed. Overthinking is often not self-created, it is externally fueled. The Stoics believed that peace is not found by controlling the world, but by controlling what you allow into your awareness. Epictetus taught that if you want to improve your life, you must be willing to be seen as ignorant of unnecessary things. In other words, you do not need to know everything. You do not need every opinion. You do not need constant updates. You do not need to compare your path to others. To stop overthinking, you must reduce the input that fuels it. Start with these disciplines. Reduce digital noise. Practice intentional silence. Choose depth over volume. When you master these principles, you don't just reduce overthinking. You reclaim your inner peace.